All right, guys. So I sat with this for a little bit and I pulled up the first reading to kind of compare and contrast and see what was the same and what was different. And it's really interesting. So they both have the same beginning here, the same past. This is the Six of Pentacles. And it is the moon in Taurus, right? That full blue moon that we had in Taurus. That was the last blue moon. And, you know, you were kind of in a fit about wish fulfillment, right? It was kind of scaring you. And, you know, I felt like this had been an offer in that reading, and I'm going to leave that reading up. There are closed captions on it. If you want to turn, if you're, after you watch this, you're curious about looking at that one, you can turn it off and use the closed captions. I think something's changed though. And what I think has changed is like spirit, but you were, and this is so interesting. I see this as you, right? And it's like, look at that. It's like spirit's behind you. This is the element of spirit, and spirit's behind you here. These are, you know, that's just wild to me. At any rate, you've had this, since I made that first recording, you've had a change in mind, right? And because in this position, which is the air element, you had the Five of Wands, and it even like, there's a whole thing there. But I saw this as that moon, right? Because there was a moon here that was golden, and the gold was in that Five of Wands. But, you know, and you were going from being conflicted to trying to put all the pieces together, right? Trying to make all those things fit. And now we have all those things fitting. And this is Ten of Pentacles. And for me, this is, like I said, you know, this communion with spirit that you have going on here in the subconscious. And I think that's, you know, this is Mercury in Virgo. It's, you know, all the pieces have fit together for you. And I feel like where you were split, now you have an understanding, whether it's just a surrender, right, to spirit, a faith in things. But you seem a lot calmer now. I do see this. You know, here in this position, we had a split happening, which I felt was about a counterpart. And I still think that there, you know, it's like you're keeping some emotions hidden. You know, and there's this battle between the emotions, right? The heart and the mind here. And this is, Seven of Swords is the moon in Aquarius. And what do we have here? Full moon in Aquarius at the bottom of the deck. So that's really interesting. Show the world the real you. So I do think, you know, and that is still, you know, and I felt like that kind of that torn feeling that you were having has to do with this full moon in Gemini, this full moon eclipse in Gemini, because Gemini can see two sides of a situation. And it was funny today, I heard somebody talking about it and they were talking about the same thing. I was like, oh my gosh. But so, you know, but it's about finding that balance, right? I see, readers saying that it's about making choices from the heart. And then, you know, maybe, you know, but it's finding a balance, being able to look at both. And I think that it's hard for you, right? This is the water element, which is flowy. And this is Pisces here, Mars in Pisces. And being a Scorpio, you know, this is Scorpio here, right? This is kind of like, and this is water, the air element sitting right in between these, right? This is, you're fixed, right? This is you wanting to, you know, this is actually the sun in Capricorn. But this is Aquarius. This is Aquarius. This is fixed energy, right? So it's like you want to stay fixed, but this moon, these times are causing you to have to be mutable, right? That mutable moon popped out. And Pisces is a mutable sign, right? This time period is asking you to be a little bit flowy, right? Even this earth element is asking you to mix with the water, right? And kind of be a little bit more flowy, kind of let go a little bit. And yet you're, you know, with this Aquarius and this Four of Pentacles, you're staying fixed. And what's interesting though is that this Hehu is about the right time to take action. And of course, it is about knowing when that time is, right? And it might be that that's kind of what you're doing here, but you have to really stay tuned in, right? Because this is, and what's interesting, you know, we had the new moon in Cancer here. Well, at the bottom of the deck was the full moon in Cancer in the other reading. This was at the bottom of this deck, of the deck in the other reading. So this animal spirit, right? Shamanic journeys. Ah, look at there. There's the bear. The bear is, I think, a animal spirit guide for you during this period, as are crows, right? Pay attention to how many crows you see, right? There's like, there are messages in that. And this is, you know, the future position. Yeah, we start out with this give and take, right? Harmony, peace. And I feel like this is what this Two of Swords is in the future as well. It is the moon in Libra, so there's more of that moon energy. And I feel like this is you, like, listening to your spirit guides, right? She has a little smile on her face, and she's all in black, very Scorpio, I feel. And listening to that intuition, staying peaceful, because there's going to be, you know, all kinds of things going on around us, right? Having that balance, having that peace of mind is going to be paramount, is the word that comes to mind. All right. So, you know, I talked about it a little bit, but yeah, and this, of course, is that transformation, right, that we're going through. And part of that is becoming, you know, a little bit more malleable. And I think that's your intentions, right? This is what you're working towards. Grounding yourself. Changing, right? Being, and it's interesting that we have this, you know, this is like you're inside this cloak here, right? Kind of getting blown around, but staying grounded at the same time. And watching, right? In this position, there was very, you know, it was the witness. And, you know, I see this as very much, you know, being the witness. Just kind of seeing this new world take shape, right? You're like reflecting back the world and what's going on. And below, you know, this is spirit. I mean, like, I think that this is kind of like completing, you're completing some cycle, right? With the death and rebirth, with the Ten of Pentacles here, with the Ten of Cups here, with eternity here, right? And it's about past lives, right? And I do think you've done some healing for ancestors and family. And I think that's, you know, right here too. I really do. This is the week of Thanksgiving, right? This is family. This is like being emotionally present, but I mean, it's also, I can't help but feel like you're kind of repressing some emotions here. I think you'll be all right, though. Yeah. Find a creative outlet to express them. Yes. But yeah, you're speaking to spirit. Spirit is guiding you, right? Listening to that inner voice. I feel, and it's grounded. Like, I love that this grounding is up here, all across this top, kind of like really supporting this reading. And this is you in the earth element. And, you know, it's you. And once again, you know, you're very tuned in to spirit, listening to the guidance. I mean, like, this is down below, right? The Star and the Queen of Cups, and both are looking up, connected to this spirit, and 10 of Cups down here. And I think you're feeling pretty good. Whereas before, there was, you know, you were okay, but it was kind of an effort. And this feels more effortless. So, yeah, and this is about, you know, if you aren't naturally doing it, right, connecting with the emotions and just kind of letting them guide you, let them flow around you, right, then this is, you know, right, this is about expressing, not repressing. And look, this kind of turquoisey color is all over this. You'll see that? I hope that comes through. Because it's very subtle, yet it's there. Right? Because the fire element is underneath that. Right? So there is always the chance. But you seem pretty grounded. I like it. I feel pretty good about it. That's just the fact that, which really and truly, I feel like this has to do with more with love. You know, this Four of Pentacles here. And, you know, this was where the Knight of Cups was. And I feel, you know, like, you know, in this position, you had the Nine of Cups. And it was like, here you had the Knight of Cups, right? There was a bit of an expression of the emotions. And I feel like that is where things have changed a little bit too. It's like, you're better on the family front, but you've kind of closed up more. Oh, huh. As I'm saying that, it's kind of like, right, maybe this person isn't accepted by your family. You do seem more content here. More in line with spirit. And maybe this just isn't the right time for it. Right? It's like, you know, and I feel like this, it's funny. And the other one, it was the offer was being accepted, right? It was here and it was over here, right? With the King of Pentacles. And now it's this one that you kind of already had, right? You already had this. This is family. This is spirit. And it's here too, right? So, and it's here. So, it seems to be really important to you to keep that secure. And that, you know, right now it just isn't the right time. What you need, what you want requires a sacrifice. And the sacrifice would be something to do with your family. It's coming together now. It's coming together now. So, but you're holding on to it just the same, right? It's important to you. You know, right? That's the heart chakra. The Four of Pentacles, right? Well, not the Four of Pentacles necessarily, but sometimes the four. Four is the fourth chakra. And you're just, you know, you're really tuning into, you know, this is the water element. You're really tuning into that for guidance, right? It goes right along with this. Listening to your inner guide, listening to spirit, and holding off on any action, right? I feel like, or if you are taking action, you're not telling anybody about it. And if that's the case, that could be what's, you know, kind of, you know, leading to more of the split in the future as well, right? It can be both. That's that Gemini energy. I know it sounds contradicting, but I'm a Gemini. It makes perfect sense to me. Yeah. That's it. Finally, it makes sense. Okay. I just decided to look back here again, and we have Strength, the Moon, and the Empress. And that pulls me back to what I said in the very beginning, right? I definitely feel like that is part of it, right? The starseed, all of that stuff. These readings have multiple layers, multiple layers. That was just one that needed to come out there, just quickly, right? Okay, let's get a piece of art. For Scorpio, please. For Scorpio. Okay. To the right. Portrait of a degenerate artist. Yeah, I definitely, you know, this is like, I always get Aquarius from this. And he did this in response to, like, you know, the Hitler, calling certain types of art degenerate, right? And so he did this self-portrait of a degenerate artist. And I just get kind of, you know, this feeling of people shunning, right? The shunning of the spiritual, right? I get looked at like I'm crazy by my family, but you know. But so I feel like this is kind of like, just embrace your weirdness, right? That's part of this star energy. Show the world the real you. Don't let pride get in your way. It's time to release negativity. Look, all of these are full moons. This is about release here and this new start. And underneath that was believe in the impossible, right? All right, I'm going to go just a little bit further here because I was just curious, and we got full moon in Pisces, right? This 10 of Cups here. And then new moon eclipse. Expect powerful change. The next new moon is a new moon eclipse in Sagittarius, who also I have to do next. But yeah, so this is, you know, the age of Aquarius that we're getting ready to enter into, right? And this is what we're leaving behind, right? This kind of pomp and circumstance to a more, I want to say, grounded, real, funky world. I like it.